Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hope Projectors, and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, welcome back to the show. This is one of 5 parts of a series that I did on Facebook about mineral balancing for your human design type. So in this 5-part series, I'm diving into each of the human design types, what common chronic symptoms show up per your not self theme for each type, and how really staying in that not self theme affects us physically. So what organs and glands it's really affecting when we're stuck in the not self theme. And then how to use mineral balancing to address all of that, specifically mineral balancing. I'll talk a little bit about vitamins. I'll probably mention some gut health stuff in there, but the main focus is about mineral balancing. And so feel free to skip over this episode if this is not your type, unless you just want to learn about all the types, and that's cool too. Or if you have a friend or family member, but feel free to skip to your type. All of these are pretty bite-sized, so pretty short trainings, but at least gives you an idea of how your not self theme shows up physically in the body and how you can use minerals to help address the possible imbalances. Of course, like I always say, the common chronic symptoms that I talk about for each type, this is not an extensive list. This is not limited to that. There are obviously other issues that can happen in the body, but these are the most common, again, just based on how the specific not self theme affects the body and kind of just where the energy is flowing per the human design type. So let's jump in, enjoy, and let's get into this 5-part series. Okay, we're back at it for part of mineral balancing for your human design type. And part 4, we are talking all about projectors. So my projector friends, this is for you. Just like the other 3 parts that I've done so far, and you can feel free to go back to my feed to watch those if you are not a projector. There's going to be some crossover, obviously, because there's some minerals that, well, all of the minerals, we need all of them, but there's similar common chronic issues at play when we're talking about projectors. So for my projector friends, when a projector is out of alignment, so remember to recap, it might have been a while before you, since you've seen or listened or seen the last parts of this series. When we're looking at mineral balancing for human design types, we're specifically looking at how staying in the not self theme for these human design types affects the body physically, right? So when a projector is out of alignment, they're going to feel their not self theme of bitterness. And this is going to can show up in the liver and the gallbladder, affecting hormones, affecting detox processes. The gallbladder is a really crucial part of our detox pathway. So when we're looking at these specific things, there are going to be specific minerals at play when looking at how the liver and the gallbladder is affecting the body. So for how this happens, I do want to give a little piece of how this happens. So projectors can take on a lot of conditioning in the world. Like, to put it bluntly, we are living in a world full of generator energy, right? So 60% of the world are either generators or manifesting generators. And so projectors can take on a lot of conditioning by living in this world full of generators and mani-gens and feel a lot of pressure to always be doing, to always be productive. And projectors have a really sensitive aura. They have really sensitive energy where they're not designed to do things the way everybody else is. They're not designed to use their energy in the way everybody else is. And when this is really how they get out of alignment, they're experiencing things like burnout, anxiety from just doing too much, just flat out doing too much, and just not honoring their own energetic needs. This can also show up as overthinking, as scattered energy, just kind of feeling kind of all over the place or spread thin. And I've had projector clients before, and that was exactly what was plaguing their mental space, right? Just this feeling of mental anxiety because I felt like their energy was just scattered all over the place. This can show up as immune issues, worrying and overthinking our emotions of the spleen, which affects the immune system. So how do we restore balance, right? Looking at minerals. We're specifically looking at mineral balancing for this type. How do we restore balance? So common chronic issues that come up for projectors are going to be adrenal fatigue, blood sugar dysregulation, thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances, immune issues, anxiety and depression. Did I say anxiety twice? I might have said it twice. So those are going to be the main symptoms that show up because of all of these things that show up out of the not self theme. Bitterness, doing too much, pushing, right? That's how it's going to show up for projectors. So how do we write these? How do we balance these? So first, let's look at the immune system. The immune system is a big one. Like I said, this kind of worrying and overthinking, these are emotions of the spleen, and this affects the immune system. So we want to look at immune minerals. Zinc, first and foremost. I think we all know, a lot of us know that zinc is a big immune mineral, right? It's in a lot of immune boosting supplements and little like drink mixes and all that. Zinc is a big one. Selenium, which is an antioxidant mineral, that's going to be another good one. And then magnesium. And I'll probably mention magnesium like 20 times. And this one, just like I have all the other parts. But as you know by now, if you've listened to the other parts or watched the other parts, magnesium is a crucial mineral for basically almost every function in the body. And magnesium is also going to help with the immune system. So how do we get these things? Zinc, nuts, seeds, fish can be a good source of zinc. Nuts and seeds are really the best source of zinc. Selenium, I've mentioned this before in the other one, and I'm going to mention selenium again when we talk about the thyroid. The best place to get selenium, easiest place to get selenium, 1 Brazil nut a day is all it takes. Magnesium is going to come from leafy greens, nuts, and seeds. Also, supplementing magnesium is one of those that I recommend everybody should be supplementing. So it's one of those that we should all be taking in addition to, just because our food sources are so depleted of magnesium. Now, let's look at the adrenals, which I've talked about really in all the types. Our adrenals are just so easily affected by stress and by that heavy energy of the not self theme. Our adrenals are they're, like I mentioned before, they're associated with the root center. So it's this pressure to do and do and do. And when we're doing and doing and doing, and it's not aligned for us, sure, our adrenals are going to take the hit. So for your adrenals, magnesium and sodium are going to be the 2 main minerals here to support the adrenals. The adrenals use more sodium and magnesium than any other part of the body. It's most easily depleted during times of stress. Sodium we want to get from good quality, high quality, unrefined sea salt, like Celtic sea salt, like Redmond salt, good high quality sea salt. Magnesium, like I mentioned before, is something we should be supplementing, as well as foods. So leafy greens, nuts, seeds are going to be the best sources of magnesium. So next, for common chronic symptoms for projectors, we're looking at the thyroid. And this is one, I find this happens a lot. Here's the thing with the thyroid. There's a handful of theories here, but the main theory I have here in working with a lot of projectors and seeing this firsthand, the adrenals and the thyroid have a really close relationship. They talk to each other a lot. They have to talk to each other. And so really, I had a conversation with a client the other day about this because she was asking about root cause. And I'm like, well, it's kind of like a chicken or egg situation at this point, because it could be your adrenals have been running and running so hard that now it's crashing your thyroid, or it could have been that your thyroid, it was the thyroid first, right? The fact is, when we're addressing the thyroid and the adrenals, like, you can't address one without the other. Whether or not you've been, officially, formally diagnosed as hypothyroidism or thyroid disease or whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have that diagnosis to have a sluggish thyroid. And if your adrenals are struggling and suffering, having trouble, your thyroid is going to need support too. And so that's why I've lumped that in here. One of the reasons. So we're looking at the thyroid. Selenium, which I've mentioned before, selenium and iodine are 2 main minerals that are required to make your thyroid hormone. Selenium, I mentioned, if you're getting it from a food source, you want to look for things like Brazil nuts, easiest way to get it. Iodine comes from the sea, right? So sea sources. You can get it from fish. You can take kelp supplements, like seaweed kelp supplements, tongue twister today. But those 2 are going to be crucial. And the potassium is another one. Potassium is really important. Potassium is required for the thyroid hormone to get in and out of the cells. And so potassium is crucial. And I can say that I can say this matter of factly, I don't like to speak in generalities, but I'm going to say this. Every single HTMA, hair tissue and mineral analysis that I've run where someone has thyroid issues is low in potassium, right? Period. The end. That's it. That's all you need to know. Potassium is crucial. And potassium is such an interesting mineral because the RDA, recommended daily allowance, is super high. It's like 4,800 milligrams, which is a lot. I honestly don't know how anybody gets that from their food source. Like, it's a lot. And so if you have a sluggish thyroid, you have thyroid issues, it's also something that you want to be supplementing along with food and getting it from food that's really rich in potassium. Bananas, I was going to say bananas with a P. Bananas, avocados, coconut water, those are really the top sources for me. Of course, there's other places to get it, but those foods are the most concentrated. They have the highest amounts. So incorporating those into your everyday, like at some point, all three or pick a couple, a lot of potassium is required. So that's going to help support the thyroid. And then zinc and copper, hormones. Zinc and copper, I'm skipping right to the minerals. Zinc, copper are the couple minerals that are going to help with the hormones. We're looking at hormones. This is kind of a multi-layered thing because hormones are never the real issue, right? Hormones are always the side effect. And I know people want to come to me and, help me fix more hormones, help me balance more hormones. And that's never, like, I'm never going to do just hormone testing on you. It's not helpful, in my opinion, to only do hormone testing. It's not helpful. So we're looking at hormones. Like, yes, your hormones as a projector, this is something that's super common, and it's just super common in women just in general for multiple reasons. But it's never the actual problem, right? It's just another side effect. So when we're looking at balancing hormones, it really goes down to all the other things that I was just talking about. Your immune system, your adrenals, especially your adrenals, your thyroid, all of these things are affecting hormones. Your liver, and I mentioned before talking about projectors, the liver and the gallbladder are two organs that are going to be affected by getting stuck in this not self theme. And when there's sluggishness in the liver, that means that the liver's not converting or clearing out excess hormones, right? Same with the gallbladder. The gallbladder is required for detox, right? To help with detox in the body, creating bile and helping things push things out of the body. So both of those organs have to work together to help the body detoxify. And if it's not detoxifying optimally or adequately, then your hormones are 100% going to be impacted, because typically what that means is that you're just going to be recirculating hormones back in the body rather than excreting them. We want to excrete them. We don't want to recirculate them. And that also means you're going to be recirculating toxins back in the body, right? So, which is also going to affect hormones. So for the hormone piece, sometimes I'm hesitant to bring that forward because it's not ever the real problem, but we can use minerals to help with hormones. And it's really because it's helping all these other things, right? Minerals to help with adrenals, like we already talked about, and minerals to help with the immune system, to help with the gut, to help with the thyroid, all these other blood sugar. All of those are going to be helpful. So zinc and copper, I mentioned, those are specific minerals that help hormones, but then all these other ones too. Magnesium, of course, because it helps with all of them, is going to be really helpful. And the other thing with magnesium, it's a cofactor for a lot of B vitamins, and B vitamins are really important for the liver to function, to help get rid of, process, convert all those things, the hormones. And so magnesium for the win. And then last but not least, anxiety and depression. And this can get a little touchy here. But when we're talking about anxiety and depression, this is again a kind of a multi-layered thing, and there's like a rabbit hole I don't really want to go down in this conversation because it's not the point of our conversation. But when we're talking about anxiety and depression in this context, we're talking about the feeling. It's more from a dysregulated place, right? That's nervous system dysregulation of not honoring your own energetic needs, feeling scattered energy, doing things that you don't necessarily want to do or feel aligned to do, right? That creates this kind of mental anxiety and can often lead to depression. That bitterness can kind of warp into that, right? So it's basically the depression, anxiety I'm talking about is coming from a dysregulated place. So mineral balancing, yes, is going to help because it's going to help all these other things. But I think the big piece of the anxiety depression part of this puzzle here for projectors is getting acquainted with your energy type. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. And the mineral balancing, of course, is going to help support the physical body. But if you're using minerals to help support the physical body, but you're not really addressing the source of the anxiety, right? Which is you being out of alignment and you operating in a way that's just not best for you, and not, prioritizing rest and your energy, and just being mindful where you're putting your energy, what you're putting it into, who you're putting it into, like where you're putting out your energy, because projectors do have such a sensitive energy. They have such a sensitive aura. That's going to be really the biggest piece to help manage
heal, balance out the things around the anxiety, depression part of this. So if you're a projector and you're feeling like anxiety and depression is something that is relevant for you, thinking of, maybe there's ways to delegate things in your business or in your life, right? Bringing on a team member or an assistant or someone in your life who is either a generator or a main agent to kind of like fill those energetic gaps. Prioritizing rest. Rest is really important for projectors. Being mindful of, again, who you're giving your energy to, where you're putting your energy, and also the exercise you choose. I find that a lot of projectors, and I'm not saying this is true for everybody because it's not, so don't come at me. A lot of projectors do well with more like low impact exercise and not necessarily high intensity exercise that feels better for their bodies, that feels better for just their energy in general. And then consistently being intentional about supporting your immune system and your adrenals. Like that's really going to help manage, and manage is not the right word I want to use, but it's going to help with those feelings of anxiety and depression because of, again, this kind of dysregulated nervous system situation. So for recap, common chronic symptoms for projectors from being stuck in that not self thing, being stuck in this energy of feeling like you have to do all the time to keep up with the generator world that you live in, right? Adrenal fatigue, blood sugar dysregulation, thyroid issues, hormonal issues, anxiety, depression, immune system. Those are going to be the big common chronic symptoms. We're looking at supporting with minerals, the immune system, your adrenals, your thyroid, your hormones, balancing out those feelings of anxiety and depression by helping regulate the nervous system and doing those practices that I mentioned. That's going to be a big player in this. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, projectors out there. And I have one more part, of course. I don't want to forget our unicorns, the reflectors out there. If you're listening, I have one for you too. So that'll be next. But I'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I'd love to know what you find useful in these episodes so I can know how to provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics you'd like to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's @TheHopePedraza, or you can visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.